Getting your lead magnet right can make all the difference. Whether you convert 5% of the people who come to your site or 20 or 30% is going to make a massive difference. I have over the past years created some fantastic lead magnets that actually at one point I had one that got 1 out of every 3 people that came to my site onto my email list. And today I'm going to share the tricks with you that help you make a decision and really find the best lead magnet without too much trouble and too much overthinking, because we can really tie ourselves into a knot when it comes to these things. So here are some simple tips that are going to help you make the clear decision. Let's dive right in. So the first thing is that there are various approaches, first of all, to picking your lead magnets. You can have different lead magnets that are good for the same coaching business. And this is why you can find different approaches out there. You can actually have a different lead magnet for every stage of your customer journey. Generally, we are talking about 3 main stages of the customer journey. The awareness stage, where they become first aware of their struggles and their problems. The consideration stage, when they're shopping around and trying to understand what is going to resolve their problem. And the buyer stage, which is basically where they're deciding who to work with. The best and most effective lead magnets are going to be the ones that are positioned towards the bottom of the second stage of the funnel, which means they are aimed at people who are considering different options and also are educating themselves about the potential solutions. So, what the freebie should allow your client to do is really understand why what you offer is the best solution to their problem. And of course, I understand this isn't going to work for everyone. So, what you offer is not the best solution for absolutely anyone that has this struggle. And this is where the gold and also the tricky part comes in. It's the gold because as soon as someone looks at your lead magnet and understands that this could really be the best way forward for them, then they're going to be the right match. And then, of course, there's going to be others who are in the same stage and also looking at solutions that they're going to immediately recognize that potentially your solution is not the right one for them. They're in reality looking for something else. Either way, it's good. That's why the funnel is funnel shaped. That's why we call it a funnel, because of course, people drop off as they move along. And of course, we are left with the people at the bottom who really want to buy. And those are the people who are interested in, the ones that are going to take a look at this content and say, wow, this is for me. I really resonate. I want to go ahead and talk to this coach. The first thing is to take a look also at your offers. So we said we take a look at when they're shopping around and what kind of education and information they might be looking at when they're shopping around. I'll give you some examples shortly. You also want to take a look at your offer, because a lead magnet that builds your email list with people who are okay within the same customer journey, but is not going to then sell your offer, going to leave you a little bit shortchanged. So we want to make sure that it's also aligned with what you're going to sell them, especially when we're tackling people who are in the bottom of the consideration stage, because they're really close to the buying stage. So the best way to do it, in fact, is to actually take a look at people who are buying and work things backwards. One way I love to actually pick my clients' brains is by having a few questions in my onboarding form. I'll probably do a video about that because the onboarding form is super important and I get a lot of questions from my clients about that. The onboarding form and the onboarding session are 2 very crucial things that will help you grow your business, because at that particular stage, your ideal client is still in the marketing stage. So they've picked you, they've made the purchase, but you haven't started educating them about their blind spots and you haven't changed their language. They're still speaking their own language about the pain points. So it's extremely important that you actually pick your clients' brains at this point, because all that information needs to go back into your marketing. Little side note about that. So let's take a look how we can actually work things backwards. So the first thing you want to do is take a look at your offer. In this case, I'm going to give you an example from my business because that's probably the easiest. For instance, one of the things I help my clients with is organic marketing. So I am big with organic marketing. I do help people with other forms of marketing as well. But organic marketing, you can say, is probably my strongest talent that is more difficult to replicate because a lot of other coaches do not have the same agency experience, the same coding experience, and the same SEO knowledge. So I actually sell a marketing package, which is a 3-month coaching package where I help people basically build their business from scratch, and they go from the foundations to build their organic marketing. And usually we also align a short-term strategy so that while we're building the long-term lead generation engine, we also have short-term leads because some people quit their job and jump into coaching right away and they absolutely need the money. So the kind of person that's going to go into this program, it's going to be someone who is in the beginning of their business and is already interested in organic marketing. So cards on the table, about probably 85 to 90% of my clients are actually in this first stage, but I also work with 7 and 8 figure coaches and people who have been in business between 3 and 15 years, even longer sometimes, and help them with their organic marketing. So people generally, the core of their interest is going to be how to grow their business. And they're going to be interested, maybe they've heard of SEO and then content marketing. For instance, one of the best lead magnets I had used to actually convert just a little bit higher than 30%. And well, this was an introduction to organic marketing for coaches. And it basically focused on the very basic, non-technical approaches to getting visibility online. And it was a great success. Everybody wanted it. And it was close enough to what I offer. Now, obviously, I offer in my program quite a few different things, but the core of the offering, maybe the most unique offering that not a lot of other people can actually offer. So I leverage that, but also the desire for that particular lead magnet is actually the same desire that drives the purchase for the program. And those desires are generating leads, working with organics, so they're not spending a lot of money on ads, and also not really wanting to spend a lot of time on social media. So those 3 things aligned people with my lead magnet, and also they are the 3 things that kind of pull people into my program as well. So it made the perfect lead magnet. Why? Because it's going to filter people that are actually the right kind of people for my offer. So the lead magnet is going to do a great job because people who want organic marketing are going to be automatically well aligned with my offer. So it's automatically filtering in the right kind of people. And also because it kind of hinges on a desire that they already have, which is going to spare also the purchase, it's like a smaller gap for me to convert them. So basically, how do we then get this idea and design the perfect lead magnet? Once we have the idea, designing the perfect lead magnet is probably the simpler of the steps. So once we've got the idea, all we need to take a look a little bit at the world we live in. A few years ago, I would have said you can have a free mini course, you can have a long guide, you can have an ebook. Today, people prefer to consume shorter content. So content that is to the point where if they're going to learn something, they want to learn it fast and they want to learn it as quickly as possible and as well as possible. So I would say what you would need to do is just take a look at a little thing that you can teach them that is going to allow them to understand your expertise, take them one step forward towards buying what you're selling, but also take them one step forward to really understanding what their issue is. So giving them an aha moment. Maybe, for instance, in my case, in my lead magnet, I would introduce them to the reasons why they don't need to use certain tools, why they don't need to be technical, and what are the things that really work when you look at the 20% that's going to move the needle as opposed to the 80% that is going to just keep you busy and slow you down. So it's also important that there's a certain speed to it these days, I think. And the way you can do this is very simple. I would say that you can go for a quick video. Anything under 6 minutes is going to work wonders. You can also go for something maybe a little bit more interactive, something like a quiz that is going to help them get some sort of solution to the problem, but also a diagnosis. This is very good if your audience has a lot of blind spots. And then you can also have simpler ways. So, for instance, one thing that I'm putting together, and it's actually a freebie that you can find underneath this video, you can also create GPTs. A GPT is basically an AI tool that lives in ChatGPT and allows people to interact with this kind of bot, personalized bots that you have trained for them. And they can actually do a task faster or help them clarify something. And just to show you a good example of that, I've actually created a lead magnet creator GPT. So if you want to get some ideas and find out what is the best way, the best lead magnet for you, you can actually play around with the GPT. There'll be a link under the video, and you can just go in and get free access to it. So if you have further questions, of course, this is a topic where we can go deeper and deeper. If you have questions, put them under this video, or you can get in touch with me on my email, which is also in the description, or you can simply book a call, and I'll be very happy to talk to you on a discovery call and see how I can help you. So yeah, I look forward to seeing your lead magnets. And also if you're juggling around and considering ideas, I'll be very happy to actually hear them in the comments and to help you out. So that's all for today, and I hope to see you soon in the next video.